the virtual porch swing for the Godly Woman podcast today is one of my favorite people in the world. Award-winning vocalist, musician, songwriter, and co-owner of Pure Gospel Media, which consists of Pure Gospel Radio, Pure Gospel Magazine, as well as Pure Gospel Promotions. This girl has got it going on. Today, I am joined by Pure Gospel Radio personality of the Violet Maynard Show herself, Violet Maynard. She's sitting down with me today to talk about being a pop and not a bot. Stick around. Godly women of the internet, welcome. I'm so glad that you're joining us today. My name is Krista Nicole, and you are tuning in to the Godly Woman podcast, where we encourage women to walk in faith with the Heavenly Father in whatever season of life you find yourself in. And how we do so is by hanging out on the virtual porch swing and having important conversations about life, business, ministry, relationship, and what being a godly woman really looks like today and even for tomorrow. So welcome. I am so glad that you're here. Wherever you're watching from, be sure to hit subscribe so that you get notifications and news announcements every time we go live or post something new. Also, be sure to head over to the website, www.kristennicoleent.com, and subscribe to the emails that we launch out with all the Kristen Nicole news and announcements and freebies and promos and all of that. So be sure to head on over and do that as well. Let's jump in. Hey, girl, thank you so much for joining me for the Godly Woman podcast. How are you?
Thank you for inviting me, number one. And
Absolutely.
Number two, I'm so excited. I was so excited when you sent me the invitation and said, hey, would you be interested in this? I was so excited. So thank you again.
Absolutely. I have been looking forward to this one as well because we've got some good stuff today, and I'm ready to go ahead and jump in. We've known each other for not too long, but became good friends pretty quickly.
We did.
we just had that kindred spirit. Everybody tells me I have an old soul, so I don't know. But in one of our first conversations that we had, I remember you had talked about the importance of passing on what we learn to others, and that's what I would love to dig into today.
Okay.
So let's jump in. So why do you think it's so important for us to pass along to those around us, to the next generation, to our sister circles, our families, our communities, the things that we learn and the things that others teach us? Why is that so important?
Well, I think it's very important because, one, it's been a huge difference in my life. When I have had those mentors, we talk about mentors a lot, when they have shared what they have experienced, what things that they have went through that they don't want me to go through.
Sure.
Or things that, that will make a difference while I'm going through it. So
Absolutely.
I think it's important that it says that we have that connection and that we are not the only ones going through. So many times we go through things and we think we're the only ones that are going through it. So we need somebody that says, hey, I've been there. I can tell you that you are going to get on the other side. God is going to carry you through. And I think that's what's really important. And then when you receive that, of course, you want to share that with the next person or the next generation. So I think that's very important to us, is that we do support each other, because a lot of times, as women in general, we go through so much. And when we are godly women, we have God, first of all, that we can turn to, but then he puts those special women in our lives. And I know there's men too in our lives, but he puts those special women that you could have, just as you said, and we have that kindred spirit, and you feel that immediately. And that's what's important. And then you can help that person say, I've been through that, as I said, or you know what, let me tell you what I've experienced, or you know what, tell me what you're going through, because I want to be here for you. So I think that's what's more important and most important, is that you were sharing that love of God and that kindred spirit between each other.
Absolutely. I think, as for leadership, it's super important because communication, yes. But it's also important in building our character as being godly women. Like it's double fold, and I love that. My dad
Yes.
has always said, if you really want to learn something, then teach it to somebody else. And
Yes.
I was like, I mean, he'd said that my whole life, and I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. But we prepare more when the
Yes.
pressure's on and people are depending on us. And finally, one
Yes.
day it clicked, and I was like, got it, I got it.
Yes,
So
definitely.
I'm
So
super
they're again
thankful.
passing that down so that you
Exactly.
learn something from that.
Exactly. Absolutely. So, who has been one of the biggest mentors in your life, and why is that?
I can tell you right off the bat that a very dear friend of mine named Margie Tanner, she's a minister. She ministers in the word, she ministers in song, and she ministers to everyone she comes in contact with. Let me just say that right now. She is probably one of the strongest women that I know that, again, I know she goes through so much, but she's always been there to either, it's kind of like give you that push or to say, hey, I'm here for you, just to give you her heart. And
Sure.
she's always straight up. There's no beating around the bush, as they say with her. She tells you straight out. And that's what I like. That's what I need, because when you're going through something, when somebody really cares about you and you really care about them, that's what you do. The truth is what's important, and what they need to say right then to help you make it through that situation. And
Exactly.
she's there to encourage me when I tell her that I have new plans that God has shown me regarding ministry, or whatever the situation is. She is right there, Johnny on the spot, as they say. And as I said, with those words of encouragement, those scolding when I need them, and just sharing the word with me and say, you know what, this is what God says. And if he's showing you this, then I support you. And a lot of times she may know it before I do. Sometimes that's what God does. He gets that special person. They're just waiting for you to say, okay, God has told me
Exactly.
this. Like, okay, I've known this for a while. It's about time that you got on board with it. So I think that's probably what I can really say about her, is that she's just a dear soul, and she puts the Lord first no matter what. And she's always there for you when I need her.
I
So
love
she's a
that.
dear heart.
And
So
I think that's actually a gift from God.
yes,
When we have somebody speak into our lives, it's already been like in our heart, and we're just like, you're wrestling around with it. But then somebody speaks it into your life, and you're like, okay, there was my confirmation. I
yes,
think
yes.
it is
He's
a
always going to
gift.
give you that confirmation, isn't he? It's
It
like,
is
okay, do you
comforting.
need, I always call it an anvil. Do you need that
Yes.
anvil? Because Violet needs anvils a lot from God.
Flashing light over here.
That's right. He's like,
Yes.
how many times do I have to present it to you? But here you go. That the Lord's that
Absolutely.
way. He does it in love. He puts us where he needs us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if we are in a position that we are looking for a mentor, maybe for a certain area, or maybe just collectively, or maybe in a godly woman, what are some things that we should look for in trying to find one to, I mean, we could pick anybody, but I mean, obviously we want somebody that's solid, that we, isn't going to drag us around the block before, put
Right.
us through more than what we're already putting ourselves through. So what's some things we can look for when we're trying to find a mentor?
I think sometimes the not always the best mentor is the person that you automatically think of.
Mm,
Sometimes it is someone that is completely off your radar. Uh, I think what's important to look for is, again, you speak of that kindred spirit, and I use that a lot. We have a kindred spirit.
right.
And I think that God does that for you. He gives you that
Mm,
kindred spirit with someone that has a true heart for Him, a true heart for ministry, a true heart for people.
right.
And I think that's one of the things. And again, when somebody's pretty straight up with you, I think that's another thing that you want to look for in a mentor. And again, those that are, a lot of people don't always have a lot of, knowledge and memory of the word, but you know what? They know where to go to get the word. They go
Right.
straight to the book. That's our roadmap. That's our main mentor right there. And I think that directs our hearts to lead us to the correct mentor, because sometimes, again, he directs our path. So he's going to help us when we're in prayer and earnestly and say, Lord, I need someone. He already knows what we need, but he will direct us in a sense of, Lord, just direct me to that person that I need right now. And you know what? He does exactly that. And then
Absolutely.
Again, you'll know. You get that kindred spirit. And then again, sometimes you're surprised because it's like, okay, I never would have imagined that you would have connected me, God, to this person. But he does. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of like what happened with you and I. It was just one person mentioned one thing and we got together.
It was just like, bam,
yes. And it's like, what? I feel like I've known you all my life, and we've only known each other for a period of time. And I think that's regarding mentorship. I think when we really earnestly get in line with God, he directs us to those mentors. And again, we're so busy of being directed. Oh, I need to find a mentor. I need someone that will be able to, but show me what I need. Sometimes we just those obvious things of, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, the things that we need to look for. There's our checklist. Sometimes it's just trusting in the Lord and him directing us to that person. And again, sometimes it's that unexpected person that becomes somebody who's very special in your life. And then you have, a lifetime friendship. So I think so that's good. Sometimes we get caught up, not cut up, but caught up in those details. And I know I'm that type of person, but I love, when I just get smart and just step back and say, God, you're going to take care of this. You've got this. You're going to direct me to the right person to get me where I need to be. And he'll direct that mentor, that leader to you. And so that's, I think, is really cool.
I love that. So, what do you think are some practical things? What are some practical things that we can do or practice to offer mentorship to others around us?
I think one is being in the Word. That's really being in prayer. And the Bible tells us very plainly, pray without ceasing. I think that's really important. And then have an openness. A lot of times we limit what God can do for us and in our journeys and what we can do for other people. So I think being open is in your heart again, and being open in what he's directing you. Sometimes you're going into that out of comfort zone to do things, but it's also something that is preparing you to be a mentor. Absolutely. Because so many times things that you have gone through, you think, this is not going to matter to anyone else. And then you'll have that person that comes up to you and says, or, again, you may be in a meeting or something and just have this conversation with someone, and they'll start talking about something that is occurring either right then in their life or someone that they know. And then your heart opens up, and then you share something that possibly you may have thought you were never going to share with anybody. You might have thought it was insignificant, but you have that openness and willingness to share with someone else, because your story is going to make a difference to them. And that's what mentoring is, you're sharing and you're guiding and you're directing that person. You're offering them something that they're looking for. And that's how you mentor them. You build them to that period of confidence, so that they can, again, they'll become a mentor to someone else and not even realize that. A lot of them, that I think there's mentors that they don't even realize that's what they're doing.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's their job, and they didn't even know it.
That's good stuff. I love it. So you're in ministry big time, and you are in a position to mentor all kinds of people, probably on a daily basis. So tell us about your music journey and how you got to this point, to this level with music and radio and media. Fill us in. How did that take us back to the beginning?
Oh my goodness. Well, that's going to be a few years. So let me make it short. You know what? My father was a minister of the gospel in word and song. My mother, before they got together, my mother traveled and sang with her family throughout the United States. And as I said, when they got together, they started singing together. My father was a minister and an evangelist, so they traveled. And then, of course, I it was in my blood, basically. When I came along, I started obviously traveling with them and started singing with them about the age of 3. I've always loved music, always loved ministry, gave my heart to Christ at a very young age, and not been perfect on this journey, but God has definitely directed my path. Love music. I've always had a love for music. So it started out with that. And my father was a pastor. And so he relied, as being a minister's kid, as he relied on me to do a lot of the work. And one of my jobs was to book groups to come sing at different events and things that the church was having, or we had a benefit, whatever the case may be. So I started booking groups probably about the age of 12 or 13 years old. So that was a little different when I would talk to these groups, and then when they would come to the church or whatever event that we were hosting, and they would be looking for the promoter, and this little 12 or 13-year-old would come out and talk to them. So God is just, I play after that. I started playing music and started singing with different groups, and then I played music for other groups just as a musician with them. And so it just has grown. And then the Lord directed me, which is something that scared me to death, because I've always had somebody that I worked with. He directed me into a solo ministry, a music ministry. And I couldn't understand it at the time, but he was just getting me ready, talking about mentoring. He was doing a one-on-one mentor with Violet to get me ready for the next steps of my journey, because my children started working with me, and my son currently sings with me now, and we travel as the Violet Maynard family. I've always loved doing radio and TV. So I loved when I got the opportunity to co-host with some friends that were DJs, or, if we were invited to do an interview for the group. I always loved that work. And I thought, if the Lord ever gave me the opportunity, I would just jump right on that. Well, be careful what you ask the Lord for, because he opens those doors.
You planted your own seed.
Exactly. And I had to get to a point of, here's the thing too, we all have to get to the point of where, what I talked about, that openness. You have to open your heart to Christ also, because the things that you ask for, there's a lot of work involved. There's a lot of work in ministry. Think about what he lived, his 33 years here on this earth. There was a lot of work for him to do when he came to this earth. And we're no different as far as working for him and for the kingdom. So he opened the door. A friend of mine had a radio station, and they were at a convention, and they needed a co-host. And it just so happened his mom, I didn't know him well at the time, but I knew his mom really well. And they were talking about they needed someone to cover for his dad's program while we were at this event. She sent him to me. So she said, "Hey, Mom wants to know if you will co-host this, this program for Dad, and he's not here." And so I said, "Sure," and I'm like, "Oh my goodness." And so it went from there. I'm like, "This is a great opportunity." So it went from there till we got to talking, and he invited me to be a DJ. And host a program, which I do on Thursday nights at 7 Eastern time, the Violet Show. It grew from there. And we had the opportunity that's Pure Gospel Radio. And then we had the opportunity to purchase Pure Gospel Magazine as a sister company to Pure Gospel Radio. And I said, you know what? God has opened this door, guys. We created a partnership, and I said, let's just make it the whole deal here. Let's really offer a full package to ministries. And we added Pure Gospel Promotions, which we do radio promotions. So we now have Pure Gospel Media that has those three entities. And so I'm in partnership with Becky and Nathan Hedges. We are dear friends of our family, and that has grown. And I continue to promote concerts. So, so we're offering as much as we can to artists. I love working with artists. I love being an artist, and I love ministering, and I love sharing the gospel. So God just opened up those doors, and that's sort of how it just fell in my lap by way of the Lord opening that door, is basically how I got involved in that. So
it's gotta be surreal, like doing what you were doing at age 12, but like now it's come full circle. Like that's gotta feel surreal.
It does. It does. And sometimes I'm still pitching myself to make sure, it's all happening. And I get,
Right.
phone calls and letters and emails, of different artists asking, hey, can you help with this? And I just thank the Lord every day. They say,
Mm,
how do you do all this stuff? And my husband even said when I took on the role of being a DJ, he's like, how are you going to do this with your full schedule? I said, I don't know, but God's allowed it and I'm going to do
absolutely.
it. So
Absolutely.
I've asked for it. Let's take it and run with it. I'm going to trust he's given me strength, and he has. I love every minute of it. And I love meeting all these different artists and seeing their ministries grow from the ground up. And I'm just thankful that I get to be just a small part of what's happening in their ministry. So the Lord has truly blessed me in that area. And I'm so thankful for that. And I look forward to it every day, getting to meet somebody new and like I said, to see their ministries grow and be there when, they're getting, different accolades, whether it will be awards or opportunities to sing that they never thought would happen for them. To me, that's just another thank you moment that I can say, thank you, Lord. Thank you for this
Absolutely.
opportunity to work for you and for the kingdom.
It's so exciting. Ministry can be so exciting. It can be draining too, but it can be exciting.
Yes, we get tired in body, but you know what? Getting on that stage and sharing the gospel, or like I said
Mm,
earlier, somebody come up to you. A lot of times, and this because you're in ministry, and your ministry has really grown to things probably you never thought would happen either.
indeed.
But it does. And then when you think, sometimes you think, Lord, am I really supposed to be doing this?
Yeah.
And then you'll start questioning. You're getting tired, or maybe the phone calls are not coming in, as much as they were, and you think, well, why is this happening? And then you'll get that phone call, or you already
Mm-hmm.
have a booking and you'll go to that booking, or whatever type of booking it is,
Right.
and then after the service, a song that you sang or something that you've said, somebody comes to you and says, you know what, I needed that today.
Mm.
And then God says, this is why you're doing this. And it's like,
Confirmation.
yes, there's that confirmation
Great.
again. And then you have that
Absolutely.
renewed strength and you go at it again,
Yes, absolutely. Ebbs and flows of ministry.
Yes.
So, media has changed a lot through the years.
It
Music
has.
industry has changed a lot through the years.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've seen just about everything possible in music and ministry. So, if there is something that you could change about the music industry, any aspect of it, what would it be?
You know what? I think with the music industry, it is exactly that. It is an industry, it is a business,
Mm,
and businesses are ran as businesses. Gospel, a lot of times people don't really think of the gospel industry as an industry, but it is a business. Your ministry is a business, or church is a business. So
absolutely.
I don't think it's so much about the music industry because, as you just said, it is constantly changing.
Mm,
I was back, in the day when records and 8 tracks, and, I've seen all those
right.
original things come through. No, so
Right.
there's always changes. There's new people that's involved in the industry. What I would suggest, and I think this is what gets a lot of people tripped up in their ministries, is one, don't worry about changing the industry as much as staying true to the journey that God has put you in.
Amen.
So think of what God wants you to do in your ministry
Mm,
and your music, or your preaching, or whatever it is, because those all have an association with the industry. But stay true to what God's journey is for you, because you can
absolutely.
use the industry and they can help you. That's why they want to run a business,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to help artists, just like we have Pure Gospel Media. That is a business.
Right.
But and that's going to change. It has, even from the time that I've started up until this point, there are things
Sure.
that had to change. But what's important is not so much that the industry changes, is that you stay true to the ministry God has directed you, and you treat that as a business and being a steward for Christ, and then that will work together,
Absolutely. Yeah,
because you are going to
absolutely.
run your ministry as a business just like that, because that's how you stay on the road.
Absolutely.
God's going to give
Absolutely.
you those opportunities, but you've got to do that. I mean, we run our households, and all the things that are involved with that. We go to our jobs. This is no different. This is being a steward for Christ in your ministry and running it the way that it's supposed to be ran for him and for his glory.
Right.
So that would be my 2 cents.
Yes, right on, sister. So that was great. I loved it. Preach on. So you've been in the music business, you've been in the ministry for a while, and we've already touched about the ebbs and flows. What inspires you, to keep going? Is it the reward down the road? Is it that word of encouragement, the feedback? What makes you keep wanting to do the thing?
Well, the main thing is, first of all, I love the Lord. So, that is your encouragement in the beginning. But as far as we're talking about what keeps me going, the love of the music, the love of sharing the gospel. And so I love to sing, a lot of us, a lot of people who are Christians are in the other field. They're in a secular field, but they use that as a platform to share the gospel. And to me, I take any platform that the Lord gives me, and I love to sing. I would love to sing, better than to eat. I'm just gonna say that I love to sing. I love to play music. You get me in what we used to call jam sessions. I'm not sure what they call them now, but a bunch of musicians and singers get together. Man, I am hyped up. I am ready to go. So I think mainly it's the love of it, and like I said, sharing Christ is huge. And what better platform and what better way to speak to people than through the music?
Absolutely.
And so that's what keeps me going. And the other stuff is wonderful too. And I'm so thankful for that. We've been blessed to win some awards that were fan voted. And to me, that's huge. It's not an industry. Sure. Speaking of that industry, it's not an industry deciding. That is the fans, the people who listen to the music and the people that you're touching. And the same thing going to these. I love to sing in churches. I love to sing in, venues, because it's different opportunities to share the love of Christ, and music is that language. We've heard it so many times. Music is a language of love. We just get to throw a little extra in there and talk about Christ.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the best.
Definitely. Like you said, it definitely in all the different venues and stuff, because, it's different settings. And I think that it's more receptive in certain venues than others.
Yes.
So yeah, it's the power of music. It's awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. So tell us what music events you have coming up. Where can we check out your music and all of that?
Okay. Well, as far as our schedule, we were supposed to be in Eastern Kentucky this coming weekend, and they have went through just devastating floods and so forth. But so we wanted to respect that community, and we have canceled that event. That is an event that we host. It's called the East Kentucky Gospel Fest, and we just felt that it was very important. And actually, that's my home state and my home area, so those are my folks too. So we're in prayer for them. So we felt that it was most important that we support them and not go forward with the event. But that would have been what we were doing. So we do ask everyone to remember those folks in prayer, because they went through quite a bit in the last several hours.
The photos have been devastating. It's just it's heartbreaking.
Yes, we are probably the best way to check out our schedule and know where we are is we put that through our website, through violetmaynard.com. We use all of the social media. We're on all of the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, all of those. And they can also check out Pure Gospel Media through all of those websites. And so puregospelradio.net, puregospelmagazine.com, and puregospelpromotions.com. So we've got several avenues. We always try to get out there through those social medias, let them know what's going on. But our schedule is posted on violetmaynard.com. So
perfect. And how can they subscribe to the magazine?
That's very easy done, and it's free. So it's a free subscription. All they need to do is go either to the website or to Facebook, one of our social medias, and then a subscription box will pop up. They subscribe to that for free again, and it will come to their email box each month. We publish the first Monday of every month. So Monday, we're going to have our August issue coming out.
Yay!
And that just comes straight to your email box. So you don't have to even worry about trying to find it, where to find it. It is internet based, and we're looking toward the future of having some printed source coming out soon too.
Excellent.
So that's in the future. But I know everybody, especially the younger generations, everything is electronic and they prefer that. But I guess I'm a little old school. I like those. I like to have it in hand, that paper book.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Yes. I don't know. It's just something about the Kindle is just not quite as satisfying. I mean, it's great because you can read it in the dark, but like I just don't have that satisfactory of holding the book. So I would appreciate that. I'll be looking out for that too.
There you go.
Good deal. Good deal. So, last question.
Yes, ma'am.
If there is any piece of advice that you could offer a godly woman in any season of life, what would that be?
You know, we make the statement to be true to yourself. I'm going to change that up just a little bit. And I think I touched on it just a little bit earlier, but this is my philosophy in my life. It is to stay true to the journey and the path that God is directing.
Absolutely. So. Absolutely. That's good stuff. Girl, it has been fantastic. Thank you so much for sitting down with me for a few minutes. I know you've got a crazy schedule, and so I just really appreciate you joining me on the podcast, your friendship, your mentorship. You let me bug you. Your kindredship.
Anytime.
Oh, it has been awesome. We will include all of the links of all the things social in the section below. So everybody be on the lookout for that. And we appreciate you all tuning in. We hope that this has been encouraging to you and that you will share it with somebody, that you will share it with everybody. And remember, when you walk with Jesus, you will have the strength to carry on. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Oh, the power of a godly woman. You got the strength to carry on. We walk in faith with the Heavenly Father. We'll take your name to His eternal